ventricular system of the brain consists of 4 ventricles. The entire ventricular system is lined by the ependyma, which is a thin membrane of the neuroglial tissue. 4 ventricles includes 2 lateral ventricles, one in each cerebral hemisphere, third ventricle in the diencephalon, and fourth ventricle between the pons medulla and cerebellum. The entire ventricular system, it contains cerebrospinal fluid and the choroid plexus which produces it. The 2 lateral ventricles and the third ventricle, they are interconnected with each other by the means of interventricular foramen of Monro. Between the third ventricle and the fourth ventricle, there is cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. The fourth ventricle inferiorly is connected, or it is continuous with the central canal of the lower part of medulla oblongata and then with the central canal of the spinal cord. This is the mid sagittal section of brain, which you have seen a number of times, but today we are more focused on the ventricular system of the brain. So, when you pick up the mid sagittal section of brain in the practical exam, the first thing you need to identify is this prominent structure which is known as corpus callosum. Corpus callosum, at the base you can see a thin membrane. This is known as septum pellucidum, which is basically separating the two-sided lateral ventricles contained in each cerebral hemisphere. At the base of the septum pellucidum, you can see one more structure. This is known as the fornix. Here there is one foramen. This is your interventricular foramen of Monro, through which the 2 lateral ventricles, they are communicating with the third ventricle, which is the cavity of a diencephalon. This is the coronal section of the brain, and we have a specimen to exactly correlate with this coronal section. First we will understand in the diagram. What you can see here, this is showing the thalamus of the two sides, and in between the two thalami you can see a slit like median cavity which is the third ventricle. So, third ventricle, it is a midline slit like cavity located between the two thalamus and a part of hypothalamus. This thing we can correlate in this specimen, where you are able to see the thalamus of both the sides, and this is your midline slit like third ventricle. In this section we are also able to see the interthalamic adhesion, which is a connection between the two thalami. If we take a horizontal section of the brain, we will have a picture like this. So, in this section, what do you see? This is the cavity of the lateral ventricle. This is thalamus of both the sides. This connection between the two thalamus, this is known as the interthalamic adhesion. Interthalamic adhesion, and this is the cavity of the third ventricle. This cavity. Here you can also see the anterior column of the fornix, and this membrane, this is your septum pellucidum. We have seen the cavity of the third ventricle in coronal section, where it was appearing slit like, but if you see this this mid sagittal section, this is the cavity of the third ventricle, which is very much irregular. Communications, if we see, the third ventricle is communicating with the lateral ventricle through this interventricular foramen of Monro, and below it communicates through the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius, cavity of the midbrain, with the fourth ventricle below, that is the cavity between the pons, medulla and cerebellum. Still inferiorly, the cavity of the fourth ventricle that communicates with the central canal of the lower part of the medulla oblongata, and still inferiorly it continues with the central canal of the spinal cord. Cavity of the third ventricle extends from the lamina terminalis anteriorly. This lamina terminalis, it represents the cephalic end of the neural tube to the commencement of the cerebral aqueduct posteriorly. So, this much is the extent of the third ventricle. If we talk about the boundaries of the third ventricle, it is having one anterior wall, posterior wall, roof, floor, and this will become the two lateral wall. Anterior wall of the third ventricle is formed by three main structures: anterior column of fornix, anterior commissure and lamina terminalis. If we see this specimen, this is the anterior wall of the third ventricle. Above downwards, this is fornix and this will be the anterior column of the fornix, which forms one of the boundary of interventricular foramen of Monro. So, just above this foramen and just at the base of the septum pellucidum, you can identify this structure which is fornix, and anterior part is your anterior column of fornix. If we go down, you can see this dot. This is the anterior commissure. Anterior commissure, it connects so many structures, but one of those structures is anterior column of fornix. Below this, this is lamina terminalis. Lamina terminalis, it represents the cephalic end of the neural tube, or we can also say that it corresponds with the closure of the anterior neuropore. So, again, just to revise, the anterior wall is formed by three structures. From above downwards, it is anterior column of fornix, anterior commissure and lamina terminalis. Posterior wall of the third ventricle is bounded from above downwards by pineal gland. You can see this is pineal gland. This is posterior commissure and commencement or starting of the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. This posterior commissure, it is present in the inferior lamina or stalk of the pineal gland. So, from above downwards, three structures are forming the posterior boundary of the third ventricle. First is pineal gland. This is posterior commissure or the inferior lamina of the pineal gland, and starting of cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. Roof of the third ventricle is formed by the ependyma that stretches across the upper limit of the two thalami. Ependyma is a thin membrane of the glial tissue which covers the entire ventricular system. Anteroposteriorly, the roof is extending from the interventricular foramen of Monro to the habenular commissure, which is present in the superior lamina of the stalk of the pineal gland. To understand the stretching of the ependyma in the roof of the third ventricle, we can understand it first in this diagram, where you are able to see this is the amygdaloid complex. The main efferent tract of the amygdaloid complex is known as stria terminalis. This stria terminalis, before it terminates in its respective places, some of the fibers, they are taking a recurring course, and these fibers are terminating in the habenular nucleus. These fibers from the stria terminalis, which are terminating in the habenular nucleus, they are known as stria medullaris thalami. So, exactly speaking, the ependyma, which is forming the roof of the third ventricle, is reflected from one thalamus or from the upper limit of the one thalamus to the other side at the site of stria medullaris thalami. Floor of the third ventricle is formed from before backwards by optic chiasma, tuber cinereum and infundibulum, which is the pituitary stalk. This is mammillary body, posterior perforated substance and tegmentum of the midbrain. We can again see in this view, this is optic chiasma, right. Here there will be tuber cinereum and infundibulum, that is the pituitary stalk. This is mammillary bodies. This is the site of the posterior perforated substance and this is tegmentum of the midbrain. All these structures, they are the structures of interpedunculaire fossa. Here this is the site of the interpedunculaire fossa except the optic chiasma and the tegmentum of the midbrain. Lateral wall of the third ventricle is marked by a curved sulcus which extends from the interventricular foramen of Monro to the cerebral aqueduct. So, extending between these two, there is a curved sulcus which is known as the hypothalamic sulcus, which basically divides the lateral wall of the third ventricle into larger upper part and smaller lower part. This larger upper part is formed by the thalamus and smaller lower part, this is your hypothalamus. So, in the lateral wall, this elevation which you can see is your interthalamic adhesion, which runs through the cavity of the third ventricle and is connecting the two-sided thalamus. The cavity of the third ventricle in the mid-sagittal section is very much irregular. So, it extends into the surrounding structures as pocket-like protrusions which are known as recesses. There are 5 recesses of the third ventricle. The recess which is extending into the optic chiasma, this is optic or chiasmatic recess. Anterior recess or vulva of the ventricle, it is extending or it is present between the anterior commissure anteriorly and interventricular foramen of Monro posteriorly. So, you can see that there is one recess extending here behind the anterior commissure and in front of the interventricular foramen of Monro. This is vulva or anterior recess of the third ventricle. In the posterior wall, between the superior and inferior lamina of the stalk of pineal gland, there is one recess which is pineal recess, and above it there is suprapineal recess. In the last recess, it is present or it is extending into the stalk of the pituitary gland. We are not able to see the stalk of the pituitary gland or the gland in this specimen. So, somewhere here this is the site of the infundibular recess. So, there are 5 recesses. This is infundibular in the stalk of the pituitary gland, optic or the chiasmatic recess in the optic chiasma, anterior recess or vulva of the ventricle between the anterior commissure and interventricular foramen of Monro, suprapineal recess and pineal recess between the two lamina of the pineal gland. In this figure, you can see the recesses. This is a schematic diagram. So, this is the infundibular recess which is extending into the infundibulum of the pituitary gland. This is optic or the chiasmatic recess in the optic chiasma. This is anterior recess or vulva of the ventricle between the anterior commissure and the interventricular foramen of Monro, suprapineal recess above the pineal gland, and pineal recess between the two stalk of the pineal gland. So, to summarize about the third ventricle, we don't have any separate specimen in which you would be asked about third ventricle. Whatever questions about the third ventricle will be asked, it will be asked in this mid sagittal section only. So, to summarize the third ventricle, this is anterior wall which is formed by anterior column of fornix, anterior commissure and lamina terminalis. Posterior wall is formed by pineal gland, posterior commissure which is present in the inferior lamina of the pineal gland, and commencement of the cerebral aqueduct. Roof is formed by the ependyma which stretches across the upper limit of the thalami, exactly speaking at the site of stria medullaris thalami. Floor is formed by, from before backwards, optic chiasma, tuber cinereum, infundibulum, mammillary bodies, posterior perforated substance and tegmentum of the midbrain. In the lateral wall, there is a hypothalamic sulcus dividing the lateral wall into upper part thalamus, lower part hypothalamus, and also we can see the interthalamic adhesion.